Welcome back. We just got a delivery. It looks like we have the seal kits for the tilt cylinders. They look alright to me. The company is called the Parts Center Limited. They're somewhere in Wales. I put the link into the description because they were very helpful. Apparently they supply all sorts of bits for forklifts. So let's see if they fit. We're back on the Lansing again. Apparently our cylinder seal kit arrived, so we're gonna pull this one first because this is the worst one. It's really soaking wet and it drains down here and it just goes everywhere. So apparently this one was repaired at some point, but looking at the end cap of this one, I don't know if you can see that, it looks like being on an angle. I don't know what they did with that. Maybe the wire doesn't go all the way around. That's quite possible. So we've got two options: either take it out, put it on the bench, or try it on the machine. The problem is we're going to cut hydraulic lines either way, so it doesn't really matter. If we take it out, we can do the paint job, make it look a bit better and give it some clean. I think we go for the second option, so let's see if we got the pins out, and then we need to sort out make sure there's no load on them at all. So just move the valve a few times to make sure it's all completely discharged, so the mass is sitting in a rest position. It will probably still wiggle a little bit. Let me try the pins first, and then, because I want to know how the pin's looking anyway, so let me get that off. So you're going to take the two bolts out, and then if you're really lucky you can just pull out the pin. That's how it should work, and it's the same down here. Two bolts, and then you pull out the pin retainer if you're lucky. Let's try that. Well, the first surprise is this bolt is completely loose here. So surprisingly, it's 13 millimeters. Looks a bit shortish. Looks a bit short to me. Maybe it's broken off. Let's see how long the other one is. There is a possibility that someone broke the bolt off or lost it and put another one in. This feels a bit longer here. No, it's longer. So this is shorter for whatever reason. Okay, let's drive that pin out and see what happens. Came out surprisingly easy. I just pulled it on I just gave it a whack on the back with a breaker bar, and it comes out. This is surprising. Well, it's got a little bit of wear and no grease. I need some gloves. Well, it looks fairly okay. We'll check it for roundness. Take the grease nipple out and blow the holes through. Looks better than expected. So let's try the bottom one and see what happens there. And then we should be able to get the cylinder out. So here we got the bottom one. There is a grease hole, but I'm almost certain one bolt is broken because it was coming out so lightly. I'm not sure. If it's broken, we're gonna get it out. Find a little screwdriver and check it out, because if you look at the bolt links here, this is one bolt and this is the other bolt. Something isn't right here, but it goes through all the way, so someone just used the wrong bolts because they probably didn't have any right ones. They look like 13 millimeters X head, so it's probably M8. You never know on this machine. I think most of the stuff on the frame is actually metric, except the axle, which is not. The engine is all UNF or UNC. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird mix. Anyway, it's like a Jeep where you get all sorts of different systems mixed together in a random order. Okay, let me get the pipes off and pull the cylinder out. It's loose now at the bottom, so at least we got an idea why it's leaking. There's some nasty kinks in that cylinder here, in the rod actually. We tried to polish it out, but honestly I don't have a lot of confidence on that, so we may need to make a new rod for that at some point. Yeah, it's really bad. I don't know what they did. Probably put it in a vise or so. It's got a detachable piston, so I don't really understand why this is the case. This looks good. It's got a few kinks as well, but not as bad as the other one. Alright, let's get the thing on the bench and see what we have. Well, the weird thing on this cylinder is there's no spanner holes. Can't see any. Not on the circumference. So I turn that wire around and then hopefully we'll get it out. Because the wire is here, so normally there's a hole where the wire goes into. Well, because you bend that over 90 degrees and then it goes into a hole, and then you just turn it in with the cap itself. So let me see if I can pull out that wire somehow. It's probably a bit funny. Alright, let me try it. Because all what holds the cap on the cylinder is actually that wire. It sits in a groove on the outer part on the plug. And normally you twist it around and it pulls the wire in, but they must have fiddled the wire in somehow. Alright, let's try. Well, it's moving. It's just getting the wires out. Look. It's moving, and that's exactly what I thought. They put the wires in the wrong way around. So it's gonna be some fun to get the wire out. What I probably do is I try to pinch that end off, because that's really bad. I think, you know what, this looks like welding wire, because the original wire is that one, and this is not plated. This looks like copper plated welding wire. Ah dear. Okay, let's see what we can do. I don't want to pinch it all the way down, because otherwise I'm not going to get it out. Let me try and see what comes out. Well, we actually managed to get it out. Again, I broke the tap off on the other side, and then feels very stiff. I think this is welding rod. Okay, so hopefully we got everything out. Yeah, so now it's just pulling it out, but we need a top underneath, otherwise it's going to be really messy. Let me put something underneath here. So we got it partially out. Probably need to rotate it a little bit to get it out. If I bang on the head it comes out, so let me try that. I'm just worried about a lot of oil here coming out. Yeah, still trying to get a little bastard apart. The O-ring is probably catching on the groove here. Guess that isn't particularly round anymore. So I think we just need to pull with something from this side. I can move it with air back and forth if I put air in. It's just making a mess here. So well, we'll try further, and then it's just getting the cylinder moves, but I don't know. There's one O-ring and probably one backup ring, and that's catching somewhere here. I just can't see it, but I think it's down here. Well, sometimes you have to use unusual methods. I've got a bar around the building here and another bar here. I'll come along here and then we'll just pull it. It doesn't come out. It's so... Uh-oh. I'm a bit worried this snaps somehow. It just doesn't move. Maybe if I help a little bit. It's just quite a bit of tension on it. And here as well. It's a bit longer here. There's nothing I can do really. Let me try that. Let me wear some gloves and I'm just gonna pull it until something pops. I just don't know what pops. We'll find out. The problem is for sure the indent here is sticking somehow on the ring. I don't know. It looks like it's been lower. So yeah, I tried with rotating, it doesn't work. So I came along with this idea. Let's see what it does. Probably put a piece of wood on top also, just to make sure it's not going to jump on me. It's going to be a mess anyway. See what happens. Everything is moving, not the cylinder. But if it snaps, it makes a hell of a bump actually. There's quite a bit of tension on it. I won't worry about gaskets, I'm more worried about myself here. One more. There you go. It just needed a little bit of convincing. Alright, let's put that up. Put that upright so it doesn't drain all the oil out. Well, it worked better than expected. Hopefully I got it on camera. I was jumping away quickly. There's a lot of rust here, that's the reason why it didn't come out. It's very rusty in there. So the piston is split, so you can actually take the piston apart. There's no messing around with those. They are poly seals. Luckily they're still available. So let's put that piston on the bench and have a look. So here we go on the bench. Interestingly, I can't really see, I need to clean it, but I can't really see a hole for the wire, which is a bit strange. There should be one. So maybe this was right, but it's very unusual this way, because it's a bit of a pain to get it in and out. Yeah, the piston seal has considerable wear. You can see it. I got exactly the same, and I got another one which has a different color. It doesn't really matter. So let's take the piston apart and get the seals out. These seals come out from the front. I think there's a circlip here. So let's try that. Hopefully we don't need that much force. There's a pin in it. I need to drive that pin out and then open the nut and see what happens. Well, this came off quite easy. It was barely tight. So it's 38 millimeters or 1.5 inch, and I think it's 1.5 inch because the cylinder is an imperial one. So let's get that one out. And if it's so loose, it may have leaked at the piston as well. That's loose. Right, washer, and then the piston should come out. I need 2 hands for that. and gloves because everything is freaking oily here. It just pulls off. There's a gasket, there's an O-ring in the middle. Alright, we'll come back after that. So here we got a piston out. There is an O-ring in the middle, so the piston splits actually. That's rust, I think. And that's the gland pack. I think this is brass, so the wear rings are brass. So to get the gland pack out, which is completely flat, yeah, this gland pack is completely flat here. I know it's hard to see, but these are chevron seals, and you can see it's almost a flat surface here, because it was leaking like hell. Every time I pulled something up, it was, yeah, it's completely flat. It's just worn. So I was worried about the rod. There are some nicks here, so we're gonna stone them off very carefully with a very fine stone, just to get rid of the nicks which are catching your fingernails here, because they're killing the seals. I think someone put that into a vise and messed around with. I don't know. It's not right. There's a very sharp edge here on the piston as well. That's not good. I think we need to chamfer that a little bit, because yeah, you can push it from the other side, but this seal you want to push that from this side so you don't overdo it. And there is definitely a burr here. We need to get rid of that, because the seal manufacturer says 30 degrees or something like that. So this is no good. This kills your seals. And if they have been changed, that's probably the reason why. The wire was certainly not original. I still haven't found that hole. Maybe it doesn't have one, because it's a relatively thin wall. If everything comes out here, the wiper seal is completely rock solid. We need to check how everything comes together. But where is the second ring here? There's a backup ring with it, and I don't know where it is. Let's take the seal out, or the seal pack out, and have a look at that. Well, look at that. There was some hammer and chisel mechanic at work. And that's where we have the burrs. Oh, really bad burrs. Holy crap. That needs a little bit of work, so we're gonna put that into the lathe and make sure this is all nice. There was a lot of rust as well. That would probably, and I think one of these burrs was causing us problems here. Look at that. The O-ring is split. That's where the backup ring goes. Yeah, so someone... Why are you going to hammer on this thing? Or it makes no sense to hammer on this one. Except you want to get it on the rod. And because this is such a sharp corner here, so what we probably do is, this is razor sharp, this corner. That tears the seals. That's no good. It needs some work. So I'm gonna unscrew it here and put it on the lathe. I'm not happy with that. Yeah, we got the snap ring out. I'm just working on the brass spacer here, and I'm trying with something soft from the back and just pry it out. I think the seals have been changed at some point, and it was done rather unprofessional. You can see there is some wear on the seals. The piston seal is not too bad actually. There is some scoring here. We need to find out, is that scoring on the end of the cylinder, or is it somewhere in the middle of the cylinder? So we're gonna inspect the bore as well. Worst case, we're gonna hone it a little bit. But yeah, the piston, the gland needs work. Let me drive the seals out, and so what it is, it's basically a brass washer. It's the dust wiper. There's another brass washer, and then you got five and a backup ring, chevron seals. They're basically gaskets with an angle, so they're gonna work downwards, or the seal downwards, because it's a double acting cylinder, it's a tilt cylinder. So, right, let me drive that out, and how can you do something like that? It's just not right. Anyway, let's drive it out. So here we got the, the keeper for the wiper out. The wiper sits in this one here. I'm not sure if it's one piece or two. I'll find out. But the wiper is completely torn up. So this is the backup ring here. That's one seal here. This is how the seals look like. They look different than new ones. So this is the last one, which is a bit different. It's longer. And the other ones are all the same. Don't know if that's an O-ring. Looks like, or it's another seal. How many do we have here? 2, 3, 4. It's 4, so there's another seal down there. Okay, so the backup ring looks a bit different here. That's a U seal, sort of a U seal here, but they're rock hard. Alright, let's see what we find here. This is a flat ring with a, this is rock solid, it's not soft anymore. And then you got 1, 2, 3 of those, and that U seal on top of it, which is loaded as well. And the whole thing is punched together with that ring, and the snap ring, which is torn up as well. It was badly bent, so we're gonna use a new one here. So that's all. The brass ring is just a keeper of the wearing. It's got torn as well. So need to look into that. So let's look at the new pack here. Well, it's exactly the same. It's the flat one at the bottom, and then you got the cup seals, 3 of them, and you got the straight one at the top. So they are exactly the same. And the height is about right. Yep. So that's the perfect kit for that one. And then obviously the wiper seal. This has been badly mangled as well, look at that. So that will need a little bit of work as well. Okay, so this is not a take it apart and put it together job. There, it needs some work. There's some dings and dents here as well, so where the snap ring goes, it's just not in good shape. Alright, so I briefly tried to move the rings over here, and it was tearing off some rubber. This corner is definitely too sharp, and I don't really want to do it from the other side because because you're actually going the wrong way with the seal, so especially if they knew that they tie it, so you want it from the other side. So job to do is getting rid of the burrs, which are everywhere. Then get rid of the nicks here and do a little bit of work on this one, and also on this one, especially the sharp corners here. There's an O-ring. Let me pull that out here. Oh, here we got it off. So that's the O-ring. See that nick here, and that's the backup ring, which is sort of a seal as well. So the backup ring forces inwards, and this O-ring is just a seal here. Alright. Yeah, you can see the groove is really, there's a bad nick here, and it's got a dent here, so that needs a bit of work. You can see where, I don't know why they hammered around here, Maybe they tried to hammer this one out, I don't know, no idea. Anyway, that's how you shouldn't treat a hydraulic cylinder. Alright, it looks like a longer job, so we're going to do a part 2 of that. Gonna put it back tomorrow or so. Depends, yeah, I need a forklift tomorrow, so I'm gonna put it back together tomorrow sometimes. And we'll come back when we clean the stuff up and put it back together. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, until next time.